Hi students, welcome back to the video class of Business Research Method. In our previous class, we discussed what is probability sampling and its types. In this video, I am going to present the topic non-probability sampling or non-random sampling under methods of sampling. So what is non-probability sampling or non-random sampling? Non-probability sampling is a sampling method in which the researcher selects samples based on the subjective judgment of the researcher. Here, the samples are selected based on the subjective judgment of the researcher rather than random selection. It is a sampling method in which not all members of the population have an equal chance of being selected. In random sampling, all the members of the population have an equal chance of selection. But here there is no such chance, which means all the population have not an equal chance of being selected. Some of them are selected and some of them are not selected. Then there is no specific system for the selection of sample. The selection depends upon the situation or expertise of the researcher. That means there is no specific system or methodology for the selection of sample. The selection of the sample depends upon the situation or the subjective judgment of the researcher. It is widely used in qualitative research and exploratory studies. It is also used in social science research where it is impossible to draw random sample or probability sampling. A non-probability sampling method consists of convenience sampling, also called accidental sampling, then purposive sampling, also called judgment sampling, then quota sampling, snowball sampling, and a consecutive or total enumerative sampling. Let me start from convenience sampling. Convenience sampling, also called accidental sampling. This sampling means selecting sampling units which are conveniently and readily available. So, in this method, the sampling units are selected from convenient locations. The selection is based on relative ease of access. Respondents are selected because they happen to be in the right place at the right time. It is best suitable for exploratory research. For example, conduct survey on shopping behavior at a nearest shopping mall early in morning on a given day. People visited that mall on that time is only included in sample. So, in convenient sampling, we are selecting sampling units from convenient locations on the basis of ease of access. Advantages of convenient sampling. It is the cheapest and simplest method. It does not require a list of population or sampling frame. It does not require any statistical expertise, which means we can select sampling units from convenient locations. No statistical expertise is required. Now look the disadvantages. It is highly biased because of the researcher's subjectivity. Samples are selected based on the subjective judgment of the researcher. So there are chances of bias. It does not yield a representative sample. Only a random sample can give you a representative sample. It is the least reliable sampling method. Then the findings cannot be generalized into another situation. Now the second method of non-probability sampling is purposive sampling or judgment sampling. This involves selection of cases which the researcher judges as the most appropriate one for the given study. Here, the sampling units are selected by the researcher as he thinks the most appropriate. Samples are selected for a specific purpose with a predetermined basis of selection. That means the researcher will fix the characteristics of the population to be included as sample. Then investigator pick up only those samples which is relevant and possess the required characteristics which is determined earlier. It is based on the judgment of the researcher or some experts. For example, the researcher wants to study about beggars. He purposefully selects some areas such as bus stand, mosque, temple, train, etc. to include all types of beggars in the sample. Now, the advantages of judgment sampling. First one is it is less costly and more convenient. Then it guarantees inclusion of relevant elements in the sample, because the sampling units are selected based on a well determined frame formulated by the researcher. Then disadvantages are this does not ensure the representativeness of the sample. This is less efficient for generalizing when compared with the random sampling. This sampling does not satisfy the underlying assumptions of the randomness. Then next method of non-probability sampling is quota sampling. It is a sampling method in which the selection of the sample is made by the interviewer or enumerator who has been given specific subgroups of the population called quotas. Here the interviewer or enumerators may be appointed for sampling or to collect data. Then the total population may be classified into specific subgroups on the basis of certain characteristics. These subgroups are called quotas. Then one or two quota may be assigned to each interviewer or enumerators. Then these subgroups or quotas may be formed by traits such as sex, age, social class, etc. The interviewer is instructed to collect data from an assigned quota. The decision regarding the sample is to be selected in each quota are left to the interviewer's choice. That means the interviewer or enumerator will decide which items of the population is to be selected as sample. It is more popular in market surveys and public opinion poll. An example of quota sampling. An interviewer may be instructed to collect data from 50 females between the age of 30 and 45. Here the population is classified into subgroups on the basis of gender and age. So the quota given to the interviewer is females between the age of 30 and 45. The interviewer can then select at his own discretion any 50 females of that area who are in between 30 and 45 years of age. Another interviewer may be told to sample 50 males between the age of 30 and 45. Here the quota assigned to the interviewer is male between the age of 30 and 45. These types of subgroups or quotas were assigned to each interviewer to ensure sufficient number of representation from all subgroups. Now the advantages of quota sampling. It is less costly. It is most suited in a situation where the field work has to be done quickly. Representation from all subgroups can be ensured. Disadvantages. It does not meet the basic requirements of the randomness. It may not provide a representative sample. Chance for personal bias is very high. Snowball sampling is the next method of non-probability sampling. This method of sampling is often used to reach population which is difficult to find out. So this method is used when our population members are scattered and it is very difficult to identify and locate them. In this case, we initially contact a few potential respondents and then ask them whether they know of anybody with the same characteristics that we are looking for in our research. So, a few potential respondents are contacted first and then ask them to suggest the other respondents. Respondents identify the additional people to be included in the sample. So, the respondents we contacted first will identify and suggest the additional people to be included. For example, the population of a survey is stock market investors and the list of stock market investors are not readily available. Here the researcher finds out one investor and asked him to reveal the name of other stock market investors that he know. So this is the working of snowball sampling. Now the next topic is types of snowball sampling. Snowball sampling may be of three types. First one is a linear snowball sampling. Here each respondent refer only one other respondent. That means one respondent is asked to suggest only one other respondent. We will approach the other respondent and then ask it to suggest one other respondent and so on. Now the second one is exponential non-discriminative snowball sampling. Here each respondent refer multiple respondents and each referral give some more. That means each respondent is asked to suggest two or more respondents and all these respondents will be included in our sample. And the third one is exponential discriminative snowball sampling. Here each respondent refers multiple respondents, but only one is chosen as sample. That means each respondent will suggest 2 or more respondents, but we will select only one suggested respondent as our sample. So these are all about types of snowball sampling. Once again, there are 3 types of snowball sampling: linear snowball sampling, exponential non-discriminative snowball sampling, and exponential discriminative snowball sampling. Then the advantages of snowball sampling. It helps to identify small, hard to reach population. It is very useful in qualitative research. Now the disadvantages are there is chances of bias, limited generalizability. That means the findings of the study cannot be applied into another situation. Now the last important method of non-probability sampling is consecutive sampling or total enumerative sampling. It is very similar to convenience sampling, but it is different from a convenience sampling. It is a sampling technique in which the every items meeting a specific criteria of inclusion is selected until the required sample size is achieved. So, a specific criteria of inclusion will be determined well in advance, and every item which meet that specific criteria of inclusion is selected until the required sample size is achieved. An inclusion criteria is fixed first, and the items included in the criteria are selected as sample until the required sample size is achieved or the survey period is over. It is considered as a best of all non-probability sampling method. An example of consecutive sampling. A car manufacturing company sent an executive to a mall to collect information about the buying preferences of people. Executive distribute leaflets to the people walking in the mall and request to answer some questions. Only those who have interested in buying a car may ready to respond. Out of these respondents, only those who have an intention to buy the car will be selected as sample. So here the criteria of inclusion is to select data from those who have an intention to buy the car. Then the leaflets are distributed to every people, but only those who have an interest in buying a car may ready to respond. Out of these respondents, only those who have an intention to buy the car immediately will select as sample. So this is the working of consecutive sampling. Now let me summarize the sampling methods. The methods of sampling may be classified into probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling may be further divided into unrestricted sampling and restricted sampling. Unrestricted sampling consists of simple random sampling, which includes lottery method and a random number table. Restricted sampling includes stratified sampling, cluster sampling, multi-stage cluster sampling, systematic sampling and random route sampling. In this module, I have explained what is non-probability or non-random sampling and what are the methods of non-probability sampling. Non-probability sampling consists of convenience sampling, purposive sampling, quota sampling, snowball sampling and consecutive sampling. Now look the questions which is related with this area. What do you mean by non-probability sampling? What is convenience sampling? What is purposive sampling? What is quota sampling? What is snowball sampling? And what is consecutive sampling? Okay students, now we can wind up today's session. Hope you all get an idea about what is non-probability sampling and what are the types of non-probability sampling. So see you in the next class. Bye. Take care.